Elections are all about the people. And once again, Nigerians have demonstrated extraordinary resilience and abiding faith in democracy and the electoral process. We wish to reiterate our commitment to protecting the sanctity of the ballot and the integrity of the choices made by Nigerians at the polls. Last night, the Commission met and reviewed the processes and challenges arising from the conduct of the elections based on reports received from our state offices nationwide, as well as information harvested from our various citizens' contact platforms. The Commission acknowledges that there were places where personnel and materials did not arrive on time, resulting in delays in opening of polls. We responded by extending the voting period to compensate for the loss of time. Our reports indicate that many citizens who would have otherwise been disenfranchised had the opportunity to vote. Similarly, in spite of our best effort to enhance the functionality of the smart card readers, we experienced technical glitches in some locations. Through the deployment of 8,809 area registration area technical support, or RATEX, that we engaged as ad hoc staff, many of these glitches were successfully rectified, which enabled voting to take place seamlessly in some of the affected polling units. Yet, there were places where voting could not proceed as a result of the failure of the smart card readers. In addition, there are places where materials arrive late for voting to proceed. After consultation with the communities involved and in line with our regulations and guidelines, new smart card readers have been reconfigured and deployed for elections in the affected polling units. Right now, elections are either ongoing or have just been concluded in some polling units in Abia, Bayelsa, Benue, Plateau, Zamfara, and one polling unit in Binji local government area of Sokoto State, and in Kuje Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory. We are determined that the vote of every Nigerian is important and must count. We have received preliminary reports and are closely monitoring the situation in Rivers, particularly Boni and Okukuturu local government areas. We are similarly awaiting the detailed report from our IMO office, particularly in respect of the Owerri municipal local government area. We are also aware of the incidents in some parts of Lagos, particularly Okota. We are similarly aware of the incidents of intimidation, abduction, hostage taking, and violence unleashed on election officials in some states, notably Akwa Ibom, and the burning down of a vehicle conveying materials used for the election yesterday in Dekina local government area of Kogi State. Some youth corps members serving as adult staff were also attacked in Osun State. While in all these attacks, election staff sustained injuries, we have unfortunately recorded the first fatality in Rivers State. An adult staff, Mrs. Ibisaki Amakri, was hit by a bullet while returning from election duty in Degema. May her soul rest in peace. We condemn these attacks and will forward a comprehensive report to the security agencies for expeditious investigation and prosecution of those involved. We have also received reports of voters who presented genuine PVCs, read by the smart card readers, but were not allowed to vote because their names were not on the register of voters. We have been confronted by such a situation in one of the off-season elections conducted by the Commission. For this reason, we made a clear provision in our draft guidelines and regulations to allow such voters to vote. However, when the draft was discussed with stakeholders, the clause was rejected on the ground that it would encourage voting by identity theft. We had to drop it, and for that reason, it was dropped. For our part, all election duty personnel have sworn an oath of neutrality. We have reports of possible dereliction of duty by some electoral officials in refusing to activate or deploy the smart card readers, the failure to fully account for materials collected for the election, absconding from duty, and a host of other infractions. In Imo State, one of our EOs has already been handed over to the police. We will not tolerate violations against or by our own officials. The duty of upholding the choice made by Nigerians in democratic elections must never be compromised. Our attention has also been drawn to the omission of the logo of the African Action Congress, AAC, from the ballot paper for Lagos East Senatorial District. We have checked our records and confirmed the inadvertent omission. We have contacted the chairman of the party to acknowledge the error. The omission is inadvertent, and it is one out of 23,316 nominations for elections in 1,558 constituencies. We promised Nigerians and the international observers that our situation room will be open to visitation. I am glad to know that yesterday, a number of groups visited the situation room. This will continue within the time allotted to the various groups for such visitation until the end of collation and declaration of the presidential election results. Meanwhile, collation of results from yesterday's elections continue nationwide. Almost all the states have concluded area collation and are now collecting results at LGA level. Some have commenced state-level collation. We expect the state collation officers for the presidential election scope to start arriving at the National Collation Center later today and early morning tomorrow. Accordingly, the National Collation Center will be officially declared open today at 6 p.m. Collation will commence as soon as the results arrive from the state. On this note, I wish to say that Ekiti State has already concluded the process. The state collation officer for the presidential election is, as we speak, on his way to Abuja with the result of the presidential election for Ekiti. Just before I came for this conference, I was also informed by our Ekiti office that they have concluded the senatorial and House of Representative elections and have since made declarations of winners. So Ekiti is the first state to make declaration, and they are on their way to Abuja with the results of the presidential election. Already, some polling unit results are in the public domain. Let me once again reiterate the position of the law that only the independent National Electoral Commission can tally figures, announce results, and declare winners in our general election. I urge all stakeholders to strictly adhere to the provisions of the law and be circumspect in this respect. We are doing everything possible to ensure the speedy collation of results and the declaration of winners for the elections conducted yesterday. I thank you very much for your attention, I'm ready to answer a few questions. Bearing in mind that we have actually to go back quickly to prepare for the formal declaration of the Collation Center open at 6